Alrighty, what's going on? Am I live? Let's see now. Stop recording. Awesome. Okay, so today I will be building a Giphy generator from scratch. So basically, what the technologies I'm gonna use are HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. So what this application is going to do is there's going to be a search bar at the top of the screen, and a user is going to input whatever topic he wants to input, and whenever the user presses submit, it will generate Giphies accordingly. Alrighty, now let's get started. I should rename this Giphy generator. Giphy, let me rename this to Giphy generator live coding. Okay, Giphy generator live coding. Awesome. And let me just add this on Twitter so everybody can see what's going on. So Giphy generator live code. Live code dev 100 days of code. Awesome. Tweet that out. Alright, and let's begin this project. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new project, and I'm going to call it Giphy. Let's make that capital Giphy. Create. Awesome. And now I'm going to go ahead and use the command line and make my files. So I'm going to start off by making a index.html file. Awesome. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my assets folder, which will hold my JavaScript and CSS files. So make dir assets. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my assets. I'm going to make a JavaScript file, and I'm going to make a CSS file. Awesome. Okay. Good to go. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the CSS file, the CSS file to the CSS directory, and a JavaScript file to the JavaScript directory. So let's go ahead and do that. So touch assets CSS style.css, and then let's go ahead and do JavaScript, and let's call this one Giphy.js. Awesome. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and start our HTML. So I'm using Emmet right now. So with Emmet, I'm able to, do some shortcuts. So I can go ahead and do exclamation mark and tab, and it will bring me all my little boilerplate code for my HTML file. And I'm gonna go ahead and call this one Giphy generator. Alrighty. So for this Giphy generator project, I'm going to be using the jQuery library. So jQuery, comment that out. Let's go ahead and get that. jQuery CDN. Google jQuery CDN. Okay. So basically, I'm using the CDN so I can use the whole jQuery library. Another option is I can go ahead and download it, but it is a lot quicker to just grab the CDN. And I'm also going to be using Bootstrap. So I'm also using another plugin within PHP Storm where I could basically get the CDN, which is a simple command like that. Awesome. Now I have Bootstrap using 3.3.7, and I'm going to go ahead and start this. So I'm going to go ahead and create a form. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and create my container. Dot container. And within my container, I'm going to have a you know what? I'm going to go ahead and actually create a nav bar. And within that nav bar, nothing. And let's just call it. Don't need to give it a class right now. Nav bar, and then we're gonna have. So we're gonna have a nav bar, a little nav bar up here, and a search input up here, and then I guess I'm gonna have the Giphies just populate down here. Sounds about right. So I'm gonna make a div called results. Awesome. And actually, let me just go ahead and add my CSS in. So CSS. So link. I'm gonna assets CSS dash style. Awesome. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to start customizing my CSS, just doing something simple, nothing too crazy. Draw a nav bar. Actually, PS3 nav bar basic. Could do something like this. I'm going to pull up my console. Don't want something like this. Could history form. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna add a nav bar. Something like this, something nice and simple. Okay, so we're not going to be posting it anywhere. Just make it nice and simple. Awesome. And let's go ahead and let's give it a title. Search for Giphies. How about that? Search for Giphies. Name ID. Don't need that. Let's go ahead and do a. Let's give it the ID of input. And I'll just call this one search. Search, and we'll go ahead and give this an ID of submit. Awesome, looking good. Let's see, what do we want to do down here? let's see, panel. Panel. Let's just do panel like that. Add a little break right here. And we can do div vs3. I'm gonna actually call this image box. So I really, for this project, I'm not gonna add a lot of CSS to it. Probably just the bare minimum. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and customize this image box. Let's see, image box. So image, it's a class, so we have to use a dot image box, and we're gonna go ahead and make the heights. Let's make it 50 pixels, and let's make the width 50 pixels, and we're gonna go ahead and give it a border of 1px solid black. See what that looks like. Just make that a little bigger. So let's go ahead and make it. Let's make it 150 pixels. Awesome. And let's make it. What I usually like to do with my CSS, I usually like to organize it in alphabetical order, just so it just looks a lot cleaner to me. Now I'm gonna make it floats left. Awesome. Alrighty. So now let's get into the fun stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually let's go ahead and plan this out a little bit. So document dot ready function. Now my IDE needs to be configured to use jQuery because it doesn't really understand this syntax right here. So simply, let me just go ahead and change that real quick. Go my settings, languages, JavaScript. Do I want to use ES6? I feel like I should. Nah, I'll just keep it nice and simple. I'll just use. I just won't use ES6. Okay, so go down to libraries, and I'm gonna go ahead and add jQuery. Awesome. So let me actually. Okay, so the first thing I should do, or I should have done, is link my JavaScript file. So script src and assets-js -gify. Awesome. So now an easy way to check to see if it's actually linked is if you go into your network tab, and it'll tell you, hey, this is everything that we're looking at. So looks like it's linked. Nice. If I go ahead and actually comment this out, it won't be there because it won't see it in my HTML file. So that's the nice and easy trick. Alrighty. So we are getting our JavaScript file. Awesome. Okay, so now the first thing we're gonna do, let me just go ahead and plan this out a little bit. So the first thing we should do is get input input value. So we're going to get the value from the search when the user presses submit. Okay. Now what's next? Let's see, what's next is once we get the value, we want to make a GET request to the Giphy API with the input value. Alright, well that should be enough to get us started. So I'm actually going to start off with making, let me just add this down here, end of code. Okay. Oop. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is start off by making some global variables. And let's see here, so let me just go ahead and split this. Split vertically. Split vertically. Vertically. Awesome. Yeah, I'll put this on the side. Oop. Okay, so I want to get the value from the input, so I'm going to have to use the input ID. So I'm going to use var and input is equal to, since it's a class, we use dots and input. Actually, no, I'll just keep it like that. Yeah, I'll keep it like that. Okay, and then we also need to get we need to capture whenever the user clicks on the submit button. So I'm going to go ahead and do submit is equal, oh, you know what, it's not a class, it's an ID. So for an ID we have to use a hashtag. So I'm going to go ahead and do hashtag submit. Awesome. Oh, it's not hashtag. Awesome. Alright, so now we will do our first step, and we have to capture the value of the input. Whenever the user clicks on the submit button, we want to capture the value of the input. So we're going to go ahead and do some jQuery. So submit, and we're going to add an event listener. So whenever the user clicks on the submit button, then we want to go ahead and passing events. We want to go ahead and we want to make sure that this is working first. So let me just add an alert, working. So now if I click on the submit button, oh, it's working, awesome. So whenever I click on the submit button, I want to go ahead and grab the input. I want to grab the value of whatever the user puts into the input. Okay, so what we're going to do is just simple jQuery. I'm actually going to log that out. Actually, I prefer my dev tools to be on the left side of the screen like this. Makes it a little easier for me. So let me go ahead and refresh the page. And if I do dog, what seems to be the problem here? Let me go ahead and do debugger. Now we're actually getting the value, but the page is refreshing, so the value is getting lost. So I'm actually going to go ahead and to prevent our value from getting lost, we have to do a simple events dot prevent, if I spell it right, default. That way, now whenever I submit into the input, let's go dog, it'll capture that value and it'll stay there. Because normally, if I remove this, it will actually refresh the page whenever I click submit. Oh, let me refresh, and then .dg. Notice that the page is refreshing. So I just want to prevent the default, that default event of that submit from happening. Okay, let me actually save that into something. So I'm going to create a variable called input value val, and I'm going to actually go ahead and assign inputs.val to input value. Awesome. I apologize. I think I hear some kind of fire alarm, but I can't tell if it's a fire alarm or not. I'm just gonna stay here and see what happens. I'm pretty close to the exit door. Okay, so let's see here. So make a request to the Giphy API with the input value. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to Google, type in Giphy API. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay, so dashboard. Let me go ahead and grab my API key right here. And I'm going to actually keep it up here for API. I'm going to assign the API key to a variable. Just to make the code a little bit cleaner. And then now I'm going to go ahead and go through the docs and see how I can get a response from this Giphy API. So looks like they're making a get request, and they're using a promise. So they're getting from this Giphy API, and it looks like it's got data. Awesome, looks pretty simple to me. And our response should look like something like this. Nice. Okay. So let's actually, before we make the get request, let's actually go ahead and test this out. So I'm going to grab this URL. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to, let's see here. Oops. Go ahead and paste it up here. Oh, you know what? Needs my API key. So I'm going to go ahead and query this URL with my API key, and that should do it. Awesome. A beautiful JSON format right there. Oh, what happened? Oh. Awesome. So if I go ahead and change this to Batman, let's see what happens. Nice. Nice. Okay. So now we're going to use jQuery's GET request, and we're going to insert this URL here, and hopefully we will get a response in a JSON format. But I'm actually going to create a function to do this. How's it going?
Was that the lights on?
Oh, what's that?
You want the lights on?
Yeah. Can you do that for me?
I'll just be doing a patrol every hour.
That's fine.
I'll do that one. Like, we do a 15-minute nocturne. I'll let you know.
Okay. I was probably gonna leave around. You guys close at 5 today,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Is it really easy to rent out these rooms? Do people usually rent them out, or?
I mean, most of the time they're pretty vacant. They're vacant. So if you just ask beforehand, it's not an issue.
Okay. I'll probably do that. Function. You ever program or anything, or?
What's that?
You ever program? Or do any web dev stuff?
If you just talk to the people at the front desk, they can probably help you out with that kind of stuff.
Alright, take it easy. Function. Alrighty, I'm going to create a function called getGiffies. Alright, I'm going to create a function called getGiffies, and within this function, I'm going to make the request. Let's see, .get, and I'll go ahead and add this URL here. Okay. So this is going to be the API key right here. So let me just go ahead and add that API key. And limit 5, that sounds good. And this is where this is where we're querying the URL. We're going to change the search result based on this right here. So let's see, API key. We can concatenate that. Concatenation. Awesome. So this is going to be input value. So input val. Oop. Okay, looks like we're actually running into some scope issues right here. That's perfect. So we have our input val within this function right here, and we can't access it unless if we pass it through a function unless we pass it through the getGiphies function and insert it in here. So the way we do that is, let's go ahead and call getGiphy, and then we're going to go ahead and pass this input val, just like that. We should be good to go. So we're going to go ahead and use a promise.done. So whenever we get a response from here and it's all done, we want to get that back, get that data back. Just ignore that. Let's go ahead and log our data out. Okay. So if I type in, let's go Naruto. The heck? Naruto, okay. Let's go ahead and get Naruto, and looks like we're getting the data back. Awesome. Let's just go ahead and verify. Copy this, paste that in there, and we should get a Giphy of Naruto. Awesome. What's next? Okay, so the next step would simply be to append the image to this box, image box right here. So let's go ahead and look at our JSON. You know what? I'm actually gonna go ahead and let's look at our JSON. Okay, so what we're looking for now is, let me make this a little bit easier to read. Naruto. Naruto. Oops. Naruto. Let's see. So we're looking for a image extension. Let's see here. Where's the image? Oh, right here. Awesome. JPEG with 40 downsized. Let's see what this looks like. I wonder if I can put that in here. See if that works. Downsize, height, width, still. Huh. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and go with a small image, MP4. So there's a still image. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just use the still images. So let's see, to access this, to get into here, so we have to go into data. So data.data. Let's see if that works right there. So if I type in Naruto, I should get the first one. Awesome. And now I'm going to go down to images. So let's go ahead and do dot images. And which one do I want now? You know what, I'm going to go ahead and get this one. So Yeah, I'll get this one. This one looks good. Downsized. Dot downsize. Oh, that should be right. Variable. Dot downsize. Dot URL. That should be right. Let's go ahead and test that out. So if I type in Naruto, I get the URL. Perfect. Alright, so we actually want the first 5 URLs. So I'm going to go ahead and create a for loop. 0, I is less than equal to 5, I plus plus, and I'm going to have it loop through and get all 5 images for us. I.log. Let's go ahead and console log that first. Disable that inspection. Okay. Now if I go ahead and do Naruto, can I read images? Oh. Naruto. Awesome. Now we are getting the 5 GIFs. The next step is to go ahead and append those GIFs to this box right here. So we actually want to create this box and append it to the DOM. So let me go ahead and create a function to create that box. So function create box. Oops. Okay, let's go ahead and do var image. I'm going to go ahead and create an image element. And I'm going to go ahead and create a, see what we have here. We have a div. I'm going to create a div element. Actually, I'm going to call this new image, new div. And I'm going to go like that. New div. And I'm going to go ahead and create the div. And alrighty. Let's actually go ahead and test this out since it's been a while. So I'm going to go ahead and try to append oh, you know what? I have to get, let's see here. Oh, messages. Nope. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this container right here and I'm going to append it to this container. So it's within panel body. I'm going to actually call that image body. So let me create another variable. Let's call that image body equals jQuery dot image body. Perfect. So let me just go ahead and add the money sign to it so I know we're using jQuery. So I'm going to do image body dot append image new image, and I'm going to do that right here. Create box. Okay, let's see if this works. I forgot my elements. Let's go ahead and get into container and results panel image box. So we're getting the image body. Call it image body, image body. Okay. Let's see. Pretty sure that has to be like that. Refresh that. Dog. Cannot read property images of undefined. Okay, let me just look this up. Append jQuery. Okay, look at this one. So we're getting the P element, and then we're going to be appending image. So let me just go ahead and copy that. So you want to get the image body. We're getting the image body, and we want to append that. Let's see if that works. Create box. Refresh that. Dog. Okay, we appended to the DOM. Now, for some reason, if I do now, maybe it's because there's nothing there. Inner HTML. Let's see. jQuery add text elements. Okay, so we have our create box function. We created a new image element, and we created a new div element. So I just want to see something here. So if I do image, for some reason I can't add image elements like that. New image. actually, class box, new image. What's there? Dog. What's that? I thought that was how you do it. Okay. Let's see, what am I doing wrong here? Let's see, new div. Okay, let's do new div dot text and we'll do hello world. And new div. And then we're gonna go ahead and pen that. So dog. Then I'm penning it to HTML. Whoa. Just reading. I should test this out. Pen div to DOM JQuery. Must be doing something wrong. Okay, so yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I want to go ahead and create a new image element. So I'm going to do jQuery create new element. Thought that was how you do it. Oh my god. Oh Jesus. Okay. Wow. Oh, I'm so stupid. Forgot the tags. Something like that. How come that doesn't work? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and create an image element, and we're going to new image dot attribute and src. This is going to be this is going to be this right here. So var image gif image is equal to that. So we don't need that. Pass in gif image. And let's see, let's do gif image kind of like that. And then we're going to go ahead and append it to the DOM. See what that does. Okay, so if I go ahead and search for dog, gif image is not defined. Gif image dog. Hell yeah. Now we want to also give it a class. So let's give it a class of dot add class. We're going to give it a class of, let's see, what's that? Image box. So image box. And let's see what that looks like. Dog. Hell yeah. Should go ahead and delete this. Now if I go ahead and search for something, let's go search for Naruto. Kabam. And let me just do one more thing. So we want to go ahead and empty that out. Whenever we make the search, we want to do input val. So whenever we search, we want this to reset. So dot val. I'm pretty sure that's it. So let me go ahead and try that out. Dog tree. Tree. Awesome. So what this does is it empties input box. I can't spell. Change to empty input box. Okay, and then we actually want to hustle. pretty sure it's dot empty. Yeah. Dot empty. Awesome. So whenever we make our search results, we want to. Okay, so whenever we do a search, we want to go ahead and do a. Let's go ahead and get the image. I think I have that. Image body dot empty. So it empties it out, gets the value, and redoes it. Okay, awesome. So this should be dog, cat, hairy bunny. Oh, that's weird. Fur. Awesome, and we are all done with that. Nice.